good morning, winners, or good afternoon, depending on where you're at, and welcome to another episode of the Wrong Button Podcast. And today I am joined by the lovely Mrs. Play.
Hello, everyone.
And we're here to talk about how we're feeling. Insert title cut. Invincible.
Okay, I was just like, what was that dramatic pause? What are you doing?
I was doing the title card because you and I.
Yeah.
So this is Friday, April 30th.
Yes, the last day of April.
And the Invincible series finale just hit.
Yeah, we literally
season finale.
Yeah, the season finale just finished, and we finished watching it about an hour ago, and then we had distractions. But now we're here, and we are ready to discuss.
So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a bit of a spoiler cast. Mm-hmm. I will go ahead and make notes. So if you are looking forward to watching Invincible, one, you should do it. It's incredibly binge worthy.
Yeah, and each episode's like 45 minutes, which is outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
It's available on Netflix, so you should definitely
no,
watch.
it's not.
You said Netflix.
Amazon Prime.
God damn it! I'm so bad, you guys. I'm so bad.
Demon Slayer's available on Netflix. We're gonna go see Mugen Train
so
tomorrow.
Bad. I'm like, yes, it is. We were just talking. Oh, nope. He's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Shame on me.
So this was actually both of us kind of getting turned on to this series.
Yeah. You were getting like the trailers and the algorithms were directing you this way, and they're like, we think based on previous episodes and other things you're interested in, you'll like this.
Which is really funny because the only things I watched on this were like you've watched more movies on this than I have. Mm-hmm. I've watched Jack Ryan. Mm-hmm. I watched Psycho-Pass.
That's a long list.
I'll watch without remorse too, but I won't have anyone to talk about that with.
Sure.
Yeah, but so we just finished Invincible, which is an animated series, and it is satire of the age of superheroes. Kirk Hamilton made this, who also created the... Did I say Kirk Hamilton right?
Kirkman.
Robert
Kirkman.
Kirk Hamilton. I don't know what I'm thinking.
Yeah, you're splicing. That's why I had a puzzled face.
I mean, you're saying Netflix for Amazon. It's okay.
One superpower versus another.
But so
Aren't they all the same?
Invincible is a satire on comics, including like the Golden Age, mostly DC-based comics. Because it had Superman, Batman.
Yeah, the equivalents thereof.
Yeah.
Totally. An equivalent of Wonder Woman, yes.
Yeah. I don't know who the Immortal
Flash.
was supposed to be. Like, he's the only one, like, he's like lesser Superman.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, Omni-Man is more Superman.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you have the Son of Superman or Invincible. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but how I know that this was a great show is I was like, hey, I want to watch this. And you're like, yeah, okay, we'll watch this.
We'll give it a chance.
We binged the first 3 episodes.
And I'm just like, holy shit, this is really violent. I'm here for it. This is kind of fucked up.
This is really...
It's really dark adult animated series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lots of gore. Lots of animated brains and intestines.
Very much so.
Yeah, lots of blood.
Yeah, but so it's the Robert Kirkman who also made the Walking Dead comic book series. And the comic book series is very good for that, especially if you're into your zombie horror. It is a fantastic series to go off of. But yeah, I'm still huge into animated series, so I was like, hey, let's watch this. And how I know it's good because you would be like, hey, it's we haven't watched Invincible this week.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, it comes out. We haven't watched it yet. He's like, well, I don't know if it releases on Friday or Saturday. Do you care if I just like play a match real quick? And so I go mind my own business for a short while, and then I come back. I'm like, the internet says it's available today. Can we please watch it now? I gave you an extra hour.
Yeah, I wanted to join the stream with Soul Crow and support a fellow streamer who supports us.
Yeah. It was a totally worthy cause, but I'm like, it's been an hour. Can we please, like, I go to bed really early.
It's an hour. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
But yeah. So, show has premise of the show: high school kid figures out that he has superpowers, and his dad is Omni-Man, or the equivalent of Superman.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And this is the first season of probably his junior year of high school, where he talks about the it goes through like his start and how he becomes.
He just starts getting his powers, and he's like he already knows that his dad is like superhero, like it is a family secret. And he's Mark, the main character, has never exhibited superhero powers prowess before, and his dad's like, hey man, like everyone gets their powers by the time they turn 18, like even the late bloomers. And then lo and behold, like, you know, just a couple of days before the 18th birthday, he starts exhibiting powers. He's got the super strength, he's got the I can fly, but you know, landing's really hard. And so on and so forth. So he's just like, I can do it. But yeah, so his dad's like the most powerful person on the planet, and it's shortly after Mark's 17th birthday, not 18th birthday.
But you're right. The late bloomer part was a fantastic way to go about this.
Yeah. Like, you're running out of time. You're gonna get this, right?
Yeah. And honestly, one of the favorite parts, and I guess we can just go into the series. We'll go plot, and then we'll go into some other like subtleties that I super love.
It's not going to be linear. It's going to be stream of consciousness, like the shiniest thing first. You've been warned.
We'll stick with story. So one of my favorite aspects of this the establishment at the very beginning, where we get the Avengers / Justice League, the Guardians of the
Guardians
Globe.
of the Globe.
I love the naming convention there, but we'll go into that later. So I love the fact that it's like, hey, the White House is under attack. It's these two blue guys. Yeah. Because at the time we have no idea anything about them.
I was like, they're probably aliens, maybe.
And the Justice League shows up. Like Batman / Iron Man shows up.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman.
Flash.
The one guy is who's stretching himself.
Yeah.
He's Martian Manhunter.
Okay.
The Martian. He shows up because he can like, and all of them are they
and
are
then the one
Justice
girl
League.
who can like go through walls and stuff.
That's right. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Like, she looked like she was in like a green leotard.
Oh, no. The one that came in later?
No.
Oh, you're right. She was the one that almost looked like a Green Lantern, but she was not a Green Lantern. Okay. She was so
like,
forgettable.
I know what I'm saying.
She was so forgettable. But so you had this establishing shot where these guys are assaulting the White House, and it's not. It's literally like Olympus Has Fallen level assaulting the White House. It was. And it took all 5 of them to do there. And then, lo and behold, Omni-Man shows up. And he is Superman. He's got a giant O, red O on his chest. He wears a white suit, white and red. And he shows up in order to help, like, save and stop this assault on the
White
presidential...
House,
yeah. Which, to me, was an absolutely, like, fantastic... Oh, this is the world. It's not a secret. We know heroes exist. And we go from there. And we get to learn that Mark knows that his dad's a superhero. What did you think?
Posing the question.
Yep, posing the question to you. So Mark reads a crap ton of comic books.
Okay.
Your dad is the greatest superhero like on the planet at this point in time, Superman. Like, is that considered like studying at that point? Like,
no, I'm kind of like, I'm sure he's impressed by his dad, but I'm also kind of thinking about it in terms of like children of famous actors who are like, no, my dad is not Wolverine. He's not cool at all. kind of thing, like poor Hugh Jackman.
oh my God.
Like I'm imagining where
I mean,
the
Rock's
like Stony like
the Rock's not Maui to his daughter.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, no, we're not like. In this instance, Mark does know his father's superhero identity and knows those things, but maybe it's like maybe he has other favorites. Like, are you allowed? Can you be the child of a superhero and like not have your parent as your favorite superhero? Or like Robert Downey Jr.'s kids are just like, my dad is not nearly as cool as Tony Stark. My dad is not Iron Man. Please stop saying that.
Well, it was.
You need to watch some of those celebrity interviews.
Oh no, it's like Ryan Reynolds when like, because he didn't let his kids see him as Deadpool, and they're like, yeah, like Green Lantern's not like, they're like,
he's okay,
but I really like, and like then they do like Wolverine or something. He's like, but but I'm Deadpool. Like,
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where I'm like, oh, you're reading comic books, but I'm like, well,
he's probably maybe studying, but it's probably purely just fantasy. He just wants that for himself.
yeah,
And I sincerely doubt he's like going to learn any technique from panels.
I
don't
wasn't
know.
going as like technique, but like
Make catchphrases. He's studying catchphrases.
they didn't have a lot of one line. I mean, like they
He
made.
tried, and then they're like, "Please stop!" For all of our
Oh yeah,
sakes.
he's like, wow, this is really hard. Like they actually, but that's one of those few things like that I really want to see, especially as the series progresses, is his relationship with comic books, because I totally want to see him go, this is some bullshit, and like have a moment, like throw him.
After this last episode, I'm imagining some sort of like disenchantment, disenfranchisement, where he's just like, I can't believe I was ever that naive. I need so much therapy. So much therapy. And yeah, I don't want these don't represent me anymore.
Yeah, like for me, it's like I have the Spider-Man comics behind me, and the Ben Reilly ones
Currently.
and yeah, I do.
Yeah, like literally, they're right behind you right now.
right now, right now.
Like I can see them.
I can turn
over your
around and grab them.
I can see them over your shoulder.
But for me, it's like it's not necessarily like I'm not going to go out and be like I'm going to start fighting spider style and pick fights with like random people on the street.
That's good.
Because one, I'm pretty sure they would call the police and I would just get locked up. Being like, he keeps saying something about spider style and
Like,
crouching.
He clearly also needs therapy.
And
Everyone needs therapy.
but the idea of like with great power comes great responsibility or
Sure.
inheritance or anything.
and that, what do I want to say? Like that notion, that message was still translated here. So I'm sure he feels those things. I'm just not sure if he's necessarily. I mean, between like television, like whatever he sees, like the Guardians of the Globe, or Teen Team,
Fight Force.
yeah, or like his dad do on television. His only other outlet for like learning, is the comics.
Yeah.
To experience the taste of that life.
And one of my favorite things is like when he's actually like in high school, like he's working that job, right? And he works.
It was
at
like a burger joint.
Yeah, he works at a burger, but that is not like a superhero job. And that's one of those things where like,
Yeah, it's a teen American job.
well, I mean, yeah, but like,
What are you trying to say?
well, okay, what was Peter Parker's job?
He was a lab rat.
He was a photographer.
Oh yeah. Well, and one of them, he had an internship doing science.
He snuck in. He did not have the.
Oh.
He did work with Doc Connors, and he had
Yeah.
it. So that's the future one. I'm sorry.
He's setting me up for failure, you
No,
guys. He's like, you're wrong. I'm like, but I
tradition-
remember.
Traditionally, Peter Parker is a photographer. What is Clark Kent?
A journalist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
This is a quiz.
Yeah.
Jesus, I'm not doing well. I have a 50%.
What is Batman?
Playboy billionaire philanthropist?
I mean, that was Iron Man. I was going to see if you
I
were going to do
know.
both. I was going to see how you were going to go with that one. But yeah, like there are superhero jobs.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, you have this job, you are a superhero. And for him to just be like working at a burger joint, and like he goes outside one night, he's taking out the trash, and just
Yeah.
And it's just like,
tosses it into the next state.
oh my! 2 episodes later, I think it falls.
I don't remember.
It like there's a bag of trash that falls at a random point, and it is like 2 episodes later. It just
funny.
randomly, and you're like, "What was that?" I'm like, "Oh shit, that's the bag of trash."
Yeah.
But then we even go into when we go into Guardians of the Globe. One Battle Woman, I think is who she was or what her name was.
Sure.
She was like a,
Wonder Woman? What did
yeah,
she
no,
say?
she was like a video game developer. That's what she was supposed to be.
Oh, is that what she was doing?
Yeah, because they're like,
Okay.
I don't want to put out this patch of a game. Like, the game needs to be good. And it was just like a real quick commentary on that. I don't remember what the Immortal was, but they had
I'm
like
not sure.
more.
Did we ever see him in a day job
I don't think so.
format? Yeah. Like we have yet to see him in civilian attire.
Yeah, when we saw his past, it looked like he was a Viking or something else in the winter time.
Yeah. The Immortal, as the name implies, is immortal. Like
Is
as
immortal.
long as like the body parts are assembled near each other, apparently he can like semi-stitch himself back. I
Yeah.
don't
But
know. Shall not die. He looked like he was a Templar or something.
but the next great part after that, I think, was when it came to like using powers. This is the first time that like a lot of powers kind of came together, and it was like, hey, when you fly, flight's a muscle. And he's like, you have to exercise it. You're going to get fatigued.
Yeah.
You've never done this before. Like, you can't just
you're
walk.
like a baby.
And I love that it's like, I can fly. And it's like, he goes, no, I can fly. I just can't land.
Yeah, like I'm gliding. I can slowing down and the stopping part's really hard. Yeah, because you don't really get that learning moment when it comes to flight. Not like this, because even when Tony Stark was doing his thing, he was like, sometimes you got to run before you can walk, and then he takes off, and like consequences be damned. And then because it's Tony Stark, he's like fucking fabulous at it. Whereas here we're seeing like probably what's more realistic. What's going to happen to the rest of us? We're like, I can fly, and like you have no back muscles because all of us are hunched over our computers and our cell phones. None of us have back muscles.
Speak for yourself.
Insufficient strength.
I hit the rowing machine.
Oh yeah, you're cool. Silence, Tim.
But yeah, so I absolutely adored
Flight.
That.
Yeah, and the learning and the craters that he made as he tried to stop.
In his own yard, things like that.
Yeah, his mom was pissed. That was my other favorite thing. Like it was the family secret. And there was like, Dad kept it on the DL and stuff, and it's just like, oh, do you mind going to that one French place, that one cafe that we went to and got those croissants? Can you grab that bread on your way home, sweetie? And Omni-Man's like, yeah, no, totally, got you, babe. And he's like across the pond and back in 20 minutes, and I'm like, I want that. I want that so bad.
Well, there's the one point where he goes, hey guys, who wants pizza? I can be front and back from Naples before the steam even gets out of the box. And my question there is, you're flying so fast. How do I know that box is not going to be cold by the time it gets here?
I was thinking that. I was like, that's not how physics works.
But I absolutely like super loved that.
Yeah, the structural integrity of the box would have been compromised.
Oh my god, yeah.
At that velocity.
Start testing pizza boxes here. Go down to Benny's and be like, I'm gonna get a pizza box and run with it.
They haven't talked about like getting icicles on their eyelashes or anything. Like I know Mark has goggles, but like when you're going that fast and even like this crazy high altitudes, like when they show when Mark and his dad like go fly from Earth's atmosphere into space, like if there's any organic matter or just like normal civilian attire clothes, like it burns off of them because they're going so fast as they leave the atmosphere. But they haven't shown the coldness of space or the searing heat of space, or when it's like super fucking cold when they're standing on top of Mount Everest and like, oh, because we're super special, we don't require oxygen. I'm willing to accept that, but like, where's the frost? Weather still happens.
It's because they're Viltrumites.
Sure.
So the alien race,
they're Viltrumites.
The alien race that Mark's father is, Omni-Man, is a Viltrumite, and they are a people who are they're Kryptonians, but they can use their powers the entire time, and they are out. They are out trying to make the beginning of the series. They're out trying to make like the galaxy a better place, and like protect things, this, that, the other, and elevate societies to like class 1 societies.
Voiced by J.K. Simmons.
Which, by the way,
his voice was so good.
His voice was so. For those of you who might not know who J.K. Simmons is, J.K. Simmons is the quintessential. Spider-Man. J. Jonah Simmons. J. Jonah Jameson. Thank you, JJ. Yeah, JJ. Yeah. And that was a major.
How'd you flub that?
Easily.
Like, I softballed it to you.
You did. And so when you hear him, and he is constantly like yelling, and because I think he's going to be J. Jonah Jameson in Spider-Man, No Way Home. He was technically him in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Right. And that's like the main thing I know him from, aside from, was it the State Farm commercials or something? He did those commercials. I'm like, oh, hey, it's you and you don't have your angry voice. Was it State Farm?
No, Farmers.
Farmers?
We've seen a thing or two.
Yes.
We know a thing or two. Yeah. So you've seen a thing.
Thank you. Bump. Yeah.
We are farmers.
Yep.
The other thing did you ever, so when I was younger, John used to always love
Chris's BFF from childhood.
Law and Order SVU.
Sure.
He was the police chief of like Law and Order SVU, if I'm not mistaken.
Huh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You can fact check if I IMDb.
I mean, yeah, I have my laptop on my lap.
Yeah, so he was that, but to hear, because you get, like, when people are acting, you're like, oh, hey, it's that guy, but we've gotten voices, and the voice of Mark was by
Steven
Yeun, who was actually in Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And I'm not familiar with him as a voice actor.
Me neither.
My voice acting is very cliche, like Johnny and Bosch's, Steve Bloom's.
Yeah, those are his heartthrobs. Those are his like number 2s, 1 and 2 respectively. And honestly, they switch places. He loves them both dearly.
I do. I mean, Johnny and Bosch is Vash the Stampede, so he wins.
And now he's going to get sidetracked and just fangirl.
I mean, I could, or I could go back to the.
All right.
Could look. Let me.
I'm just seeing if you can do it.
I can do it.
All right, then do it.
You want to know why? Insert title sequence Invincible.
You're welcome.
But their entire interaction, like father and son.
Yeah.
The J.K. Simmons' like voice inflection. One was great. And Mark's, when he sits there and he goes up to his room, I think it's the second episode, and it's April is in his room after
His girlfriend.
Yeah, when they first had started talking to each other,
Sure.
and
Was it their study date?
It was their study date.
It was the study date.
He gets called outside and has to go away a lot,
Yep.
and he comes back in.
45 minutes later.
The thing that I knew, like, you want to know how I knew he was such a great like voice actor for this is, like, they're like, hey, when you're doing this, he goes, yeah, and it was the most like
The most teenager thing.
and because you gotta know, like, it was probably scripted, like, yeah, I know, but it's and it's just like, no, that does not need to be verbal, because as a teenager you're so impatient, and I'm watching that, I'm like,
And full of teenage angst, and you're like, please stop talking so I can go. Yep, got it.
Although I did love at the end, and some one more time thing, yeah, if you don't want to know, you should probably change out of your suit. Like, it's just one of those moments.
Yeah. Not telling you how to live your life, just a suggestion.
I love.
What did you love?
I also loved the early part of the series, episode 1, as well. When he goes to when his father's like, "Let me show you like your inheritance." And he's like, "What you're gonna be able to do?" And they go and they meet his tailor.
Yes.
Who, by the way, who was the tailor?
Mark Hamill.
Yes.
I figured it out.
Yes. Because there are times where he sounds...
voiced by Mark Hamill. And we're like, we know this man.
Yeah, I like the second it happened, I turned and like geeked out at you, and you're like, what? I'm like, that's Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
Like, can you not hear the Joker? And you were like, no.
Like, not really, but I also didn't like obsess over that like you did.
Yeah, it was, but that's who it was. And I like how he's like, I need a costume, like, and like, you know, and it's like, yeah, you want to be a symbol, but you need a name.
Yeah.
And then he runs back in and...
I got it. Yeah.
Title card.
Invincible. Yeah. No, it was wonderful. What surprised you the most?
Ooh. What surprised me the most, and it's probably something more of American, there was Mark's growth and his overwhelming victory was in the very last episode when he's just talking to the space guy who like shows up one day.
Seth Rogen in space.
Seth Rogen in space, yeah. When he just shows up and the guy's like there to test their defenses, and like something's coming in from deep space, and it's a complete reverse from the first time we meet. And like he sits down on the rock with him, and just 'cause I think he's holding his breath in space. I don't know.
Yeah, he has to hold his breath, and they can communicate
to his mind.
telepathically.
But that is the only like real victory that Mark gets the entire series, the entire first season.
Pretty much, yeah. Like he haphazardly battled against like the guy who like instantly turned himself like
to cement,
to stone and be bulletproof for a little while. But that was it. Other than that, he really just got his ass handed to him, and a lot of people died around him as he was trying to save them. Like he was doing his best, and a lot of people still died.
Yeah. And that was like
that was your most surprising part.
Yeah, there was no, because it's satire, and like if you were to actually look at like this is more what superheroes would be like if they were in our world.
Yeah, even when we were first watching this, I was like, oh, it's like an animated version of The Boys. And it's not quite like that, but I thought about it. Yeah, I just made that comparison just because it was like, oh no, these are the real world consequences. This isn't necessarily what Marvel or DC are showing you. Where they gave us like Marvel like Civil War and stuff like that, but it wasn't. No, these people have been disemboweled. This guy got his skull crushed, and like you just lost some teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of gore. Like this guy just got sliced in half, and like they show you that, and there's never really blood or like from getting punched in the face repeatedly. Like everyone's going to get a little bit mashed, and you don't see that in DC or in Marvel. So it's like, oh, this is violence, and The Boys was similar with that. Where like I'm just going to like laser beam through somebody's head.
The Boys to me is so this is like if we were in the Golden Age era comics and we got to see everything else around them. To me, The Boys is more like, no, this is what it would actually be like if they were in our world. Because it's like, no, we created them. They have fan pages, followings.
Yeah, it wasn't. You're right. That's more celebrity. Again, my thing was just like, oh, there's consequences. There's casualties.
Yes.
There's peripheral damage.
100%.
Yeah.
But
and again, the gore.
The gore. The only thing that you could harken it to would be like Watchmen.
I didn't like Watchmen.
Why?
I have to watch it again. It's been a very long time.
You know what? You're perfectly fine if you don't.
Cool.
I'm
not going to. I was trying to like be.
No, you're.
Like, maybe.
As much as people like tout
new things.
that movie and that comic, along with the comic for V for Vendetta, you know what? Just watch the movie for V for Vendetta because
good enough.
Well, no, I was gonna say Agent Smith is in it as V, and that's all you need. Like, there you go. You've got the great part of it. But what surprised you the most?
We're still here, I'm thinking. Dramatic
effect.
Yeah.
Invincible.
What surprised me the most? Honestly, it would just be like the okay, this is the spoiler, guys. I know we've been talking. But like just the reasoning behind his dad.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Because like when we're like, no, like Nolan definitely killed the Guardians of the Globe,
which is like the first episode.
Why did he do it?
Yeah.
And your theory was like, oh, it has something to do with like his son's hormones becoming a teenager, and that's why all the other Viltrumites, like when you reach a certain age, you get sent away, and that's how they keep the peace. And like, I loved that theory.
That's
like,
a good theory,
we're going to go in there, like we're going to go into these other episodes, and we're just going to touch on that. Like that was a solid theory. I loved that, and so that's what I had like invested myself in. I'm like, yeah, we'll get to it any second now, and so. I just like one-tracked mind it instead of like, no, we're part of like this invading army and this is what we're doing now. And just like that level of like fucking sleeper cell.
Spoilers.
Yeah, just like sleeper cell loyalty for decades. And I understand like Earth decades is meaningless to other like species and alien races and stuff. But I'm just like, really? That surprised me. Like, no, you're fucking zealot.
Episode 4, maybe it was either 3 or 4. Do you remember when so what happens is aliens start invading, and there's they're called Teen Team, and they're
like Teen Titans.
Yeah, they're Teen Titans. We'll go into the naming conventions in a minute, but the team starts fighting this alien race that like comes to Earth. They start aging, and they invade,
come through a portal,
and they invade
over like the course of 4 days,
multiple times,
multiple waves of invasion.
Now, at one point, Mark's fighting, and Omni-Man shows up, and he like nails them through the portal.
Yeah.
And at the very end, he goes, "Earth is not yours to conquer." And that's not. After that, I was like, "Oh, okay."
That was the warning.
That was my warning. I'm like, "Okay, he's here to conquer Earth." There's a lie with the Viltrumites, or he's like, it was like maybe the hormone thing was true, and to an extent, like how do you keep the peace? Well, you send out your strongest warriors.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, I was off because I was like, because everyone started to see Omni-Man was being different, like
and he had like all these like want to be like magnanimous and pretty chill. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not part of
A team.
the Global Defense Force or anything, but I'll show up and I'll do my part, but don't think you can tell me what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And now he has like anger issues and like non-compliant. Aside from the fact that he like murdered people and then lied about it, but yeah.
The demon, Bloodhound, Darkhound.
Hellboy.
Yeah, he was Hellboy.
It was Hellboy.
He was Batman Hellboy, the world's greatest detective, or the Hell's greatest detective. I loved him. But he was voiced by oh god, he's been in quite a few things that if I can think of him you would know, but I knew him right away. He is the drill instructor from Starship Troopers, the original movie. But he was a really cool, and I really liked how they played on a lot of that. So before we go back into the story, how did you like the naming convention of everything? Did you pay attention to the name? Okay, so
Like, you're gonna have to give me more to go on than that.
so the girl who could like make copies of herself,
Yeah.
duplicate.
Duplicate. Yeah, I liked that. I thought it was clever.
I loved Atom Eve.
Yeah.
Because when I saw it, she has the female symbol, and it's like crossed out, and I was like, I'm they're doing a transgender. She's like, no, I can rearrange atoms. And I'm like, oh, that's fucking self-explanatory.
Atom Eve.
Atom Eve.
Yeah.
Rexplode, Monster Girl's pretty like.
Yeah, she's a Hulk essentially.
Yeah, she's a Hulk. Black Samson. The girl who could like get really big, she had a name, but all of them had like.
Yeah, that was pretty much like Ant-Man.
Yeah, but they all had names based on like. Because one of the things is when people get named stuff in comics, you want it to be something that like goes together super well. So it's
and
like
it tells you who they are.
yeah, like like Peter Parker, Tony Stark, like it has to go, and a lot of times it's like PP.
Yeah,
or,
alliteration. Yeah.
and for this one to be like duplicate, duplicate, and be like, oh wow, really?
Yeah, no, it's a good play. I like to play on the words.
I loved that naming convention.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Globe, Teen Team, like
Yeah,
who are we? Fight Force.
essentially.
I love how they made fun of Fight Force. Like when they went to try out for the Guardians of the Globe, and they're like, wow, what's Fight Force doing here? And everyone's like, I don't know what they're doing here. It's like, no, they like, you guys are like the second worst or second best team or third best team, and you're only above Fight Force. But yeah, no, that's I loved the naming convention. But when Omni-Man starts to like really snap,
The true agenda is slowly revealed.
because it like the last episode, it goes the Viltrumites. He was right. He did tell, because he tells his son in the very beginning. He goes, we come on a planet called Viltron, and we go out and we help elevate societies. We bring them science, technology, medicine, and we take
end
them
the wars, and we help them, move past
everything. Type 1 society. And he was right. He was 100% right. And the second
it's not right. He was truthful.
he was. See, but at the end, he goes, "This is the first time I've ever telling you the truth." I'm like, "No, you told him the truth the first time. You just
The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
yeah."
Yeah.
But that was like, and then it comes out at the end. It's like, no, we're an empire,
Yeah.
and it's
We're
like
an invasive species.
it's like General Zod when he comes in the Superman movies, and is like, nope, we're gonna fight here on Earth, and we're gonna conquer them because we're a damn near indestructible race.
Yeah, like, because you can't stop me. If you don't comply, we'll just eliminate you.
And then, how did you like the Global Defense Force?
It's another 3-letter organization. It felt like, what was the Marvel? I can't remember what it was called.
Shield.
Thank you. It felt like Shield.
See, I got Men in Black, but for superheroes.
I can see that.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Cecil's a huge.
Cecil's Nick Fury.
He is, but he's also like super conspiracy.
Yeah.
Like, and
You get like, I think they're both spies. Yes.
they are.
Yes.
Nick Fury. If we're going off the MCU,
I mean, no one can be like Samuel L. Jackson.
they literally colored Nick Fury changed races because when they cast Samuel L. Jackson, they were like, oh fuck, we can't use the white the White Nick Fury anymore. We have to. It has
It
to.
has
like,
to be this man.
Yeah, it can't not be Samuel L. Jackson. Like that can't be done anymore. Although he was Captain Fury when he was white, and then he becomes like Colonel Fury, and that's when
Whatever.
they casted. But it's just a comic book, like inside joke. Sorry. Like you don't read comics, so it's really hard to do these
you're
jokes.
like telling me these nuanced things. I'm like, we're focusing on Invincible.
Invincible, yeah. Yeah, because he comes in and he's very. I don't even want to say it's like skeptical, but
He's seen things, man.
he has. But he is leery of everything. Like there's
Yes, it's a healthy dose of skepticism because staying on edge like that has helped him keep his edge and live.
yes.
I believe that he believes he is doing the right thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe he's like, I know what real monsters are.
Yeah,
And
he's
I
like,
need to be a
I
monster.
know what goes bump in the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you want to bump back,
Hit hard.
Yeah.
Hit hard, hit fast. And I liked their advanced technologies. I liked the invisible suits and stuff like that. Like, that was really cool.
I liked how meaningless they were.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say. Like, my was, and it had no effect.
Yeah.
Like, when you were trying to go up against Omni-Man, like, they were unleashing kaiju and meant next to nothing.
I love the fact that it's like the kaiju. He fought the kaiju, and he was like, I've never seen Omni-Man on the ropes like that. And he sits there, and then when they release him again, because Omni-Man goes there and saves them, and I think Omni-Man was supposed to still be like beaten, like hurting after
Yeah.
he fought the Guardians of the Globe. Like they did a number on him because there were
Yeah, he like his organs were bruised and burst.
Yeah. But when he sits there and they at the very end, he goes, wake her up. And he's like, they're like, what'd you do to her? And it's like, well, that kaiju that you fought, we now pumped her full of all the shit to make her stronger.
And now she can't feel pain.
Yeah, now she can't
And
feel pain.
she blames you personally.
But it was like his entire job was, I think he is like xenophobia to like the nth degree. If you are not 100% Homo sapien sapien, you cannot be trusted, and you might take over the planet.
You're talking about Cecil still.
Cecil, yeah.
Sure, because his job is to like think bigger than that. Like he's trying to protect against other super villains before some of those were also human. But yeah, like he was definitely like looking out into deep space for other more serious threats.
I also thought it was just like because he's not superpowered, he is just looking out for humans, like norms, muns.
Yeah,
And-
they're the weakest ones.
Well, yeah, but like if Omni-Man shows up and it's like, oh, here's this benign angel to come and save us, right? Like that's what it's going to be. And his entire thing is, no, you aren't one of us. But even if it's like, Monster Girl, like he tries to save them, but when they go down there and it's like, that's Viltrumite DNA. We have nuked it. We have irradiated it. We have done. It is nigh indestructible. I think it's like, yes, he's looking in deep space, but he doesn't care if you are anything other than a human. You are always going to be a possible threat. Because even when the detective was like looking around, he's the one who had him like cast away back to hell.
Yeah.
And I think it's because you like, even though you're right, and he knows he's right, he's like, I can't trust you either way, and sends him to hell. Like I think it
wasn't I can't trust you either way. It was you're causing too much trouble. I need things to be quiet and to go away, and you keep digging and keep warning you to stop digging. You keep digging. I told you to stop, and now I'm going to make you stop. Like he had an agenda, and our Hellboy guy was. I should really learn the names instead of just calling them. But
it's like Demon Darkblood.
yeah, like you're causing trouble, so now I'm going to eliminate you.
Yeah.
And that's just like that's a man in a 3-letter organization just doing his job.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Words were said, things stopped.
No, I liked him.
What was the name of Mark's friend? His fabulous. Oh my god.
His fabulous gay friend.
Oh yeah, I loved him. He was.
William
William
Clockwell.
I loved him.
Mm-hmm. What did you love about him?
Okay, so one, he was just. I thought he was a great character when he talked to Mark. Like he was that ride or die.
He had like all this like emotional intelligence and positivity. I liked him so much. I'm like, you're so healthy.
And then the point where he's like,
Can
when
you take me flying?
No, like when he's like your dad, and then he drools over Mark's dad, and then drools over Omni-Man separately before he realizes that they're like, and just goes like full on like he's like, I don't think you understand what like Omni-Man like, and Mark like is like he's like a god. And he's like, oh, that's right. I need to only do straight talk around you. And it's no, dude. I just want you to stop like fetishizing my dad. It was because when they said that, I was like, oh yeah. Man. I'm like, no, I get that. It's like when your friends hit on your mom. Like, no, dude, fucking stop. That's wrong.
Gross.
And when he did that towards his dad, I was like, oh shit. Because once he said that, I was like, oh yeah, that's your. I'm like, oh, we've all been there. We all know exactly how that feels. It was just reversed because, your dad's... And I loved him. I loved the episode where they go to the college. And he...
The university.
Yeah, it was like Upstate University was the actual name of it. But you get to find out about his college boy toy who gets turned into a cyborg.
Yeah, that happened so quick. Like, you knew that it was too good to be true and some tragic thing was going to befall that poor man. But that all happened real quick.
Yeah.
I'm like, he would still be making modifications in real life. It hasn't even been 8 hours. I call shenanigans, but okay.
Yeah.
This is where I draw my lines, people.
But it was. But I like how, like I said, that was still an episode where it's like he's just fighting cyborgs, and
getting his butt kicked.
Yeah, and he's getting his ass kicked, and then one of the things that I really loved is anything that like they fought, the Global Defense Force took.
Yeah, like, we'll keep our hands on this. It reminded me of, and I'm going to do a terrible job as I describe this, so for everyone listening, I'm sorry. Please, I know you're going to wince, and I'm sorry. There was an episode of Justice League where they're like, well, what happens if we have to stop each other? And Batman had all these contingencies. And he's like, I got a thing for that. I got a thing for that. And I got a thing for that. And I can take care of you. Or they're like, well, how are we going to stop you? And he's like, that's why the Justice League exists.
That was the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh God. It was one of the movies. And he sits there and he goes, you have all these contingency plans for all of us. What about you? He goes, I do. It's called the Justice League.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that's what that reminded me of.
Yeah.
It was like just collecting these monsters and atrocities and other things.
Weapons.
Yeah, all these weapons, doing all the experiments. Because like science was the answer. He's like, how can we push? How can we get smarter? We need to know. I admire that.
Yes.
Like, I'm sure there's a lot of lines that are crossed, but ethics are gray in that area, and I don't mind it.
Oh yeah, like it comes down to this because and it goes into it like it's because that's very dystopian. Like, you have invisible cops with lasers that are fucking in the goddamn house.
I hate it, though. You're like, invisible cops. Like, I suddenly am no longer okay with any of this.
Yeah, you're no longer okay with it. But you're talking, like, 2 blue guys walked up on the White House.
Yes, big blue guys.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, if you know things like that exist, if you were to protect yourself, how many civil liberties would you be willing to go?
Yeah. What's everyone's insurance? That's what I want to know.
Oh, that was when I was working at there's an insurance company that's pretty prevalent in our area, and I worked at one of their contact centers. They what's one of the questions I was asked? I was like, hey, have we ever tried like marketing superhero insurance? And they're like, and what would you do? Well, on the off chance that a giant robot like ever slams into your car or a guy in a robot suit, like like someone reach out to Disney and be like, hey guys, we have an idea. Can we use you for this? Like, you pay like $10 million for like a 5-second ad in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm like,
go grab
the amount of money that
RDJ
you have to pay. Yeah,
and do this.
Like Spider-Man took my car and used it and flung it into a black hole, and
I can't really
I don't have a car.
That. Like, I'm like, if
they
you
just want my Easy Pass. It's all gone now.
hang on.
Just like normal people shit. They want my easy pass.
There's a YouTube video. Hold on. I think if you zoom up right, see that's my license plate. So
Yep. DMV's like, you got to return the license. I'm like, I can't.
Yeah,
It's gone forever.
But yeah, no, that
proof
was
of loss. Just film everything.
that's all it is.
Sorry, I'll stop.
But and it's like Cecil, because when they're like watching him, and then they go down all the secret layers. Or the last episode, we're like, hey, we put something in your tap water so you can't see certain
This
spectrums
wavelength of light. I'm like, that's interesting. I love that as a conspiracy theory.
Yeah. You'd be surprised how often we use it.
Yeah, I mean, like, if we have chemtrails, what else is there? No, I'm kidding. I don't believe in chemtrails.
Oh,
but
birds aren't real. Oh, there's a Reddit thread on that.
I can't even. No,
Oh,
I'm not
I
going
know.
to engage with you. It's only going to make me angry.
What did you think about the blue guys when they dig up and we learn about the immortal and they're like, we're gonna dig him up, and it's like, and if you drink it from his skull, it'll be okay. Yeah, I don't know if that's like, nah, dude, don't worry. I learned it from Reddit.
Yeah, and they're like, maybe don't believe everything.
Yeah, they
you
show
on the
up.
internet. Yeah, I know, it was really good. I think my favorite superhero would honestly probably be Adam Eve. Like, I hate her outfit, but I love that superpower. Like, you can just like rearrange atoms at will and like construct things into existence out of nothing. Like, that's amazing.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and I like when she went out on her own and she's like, I can do more good and actually help real human lives out here on my own. And she's helping to add fertilizer and bring in rain and replanting forests instantly, mature trees after acres have been devastated by fire, and stopping avalanches. And I'm like, yes. And she built herself a cute little bungalow treehouse. I'm like, I want to live there. Yeah, I was totally there for it.
I wonder, because there's a DC character who, like, because a lot of them have those same powers, and he has the same thing, but he has to know the molecular and like makeup of the atoms in it.
I like that. I like that as a rule. You have to know the structure.
Which, like, for this, it was, I didn't really...
Yeah, we didn't see her studying structures.
It was, but I also, what I enjoyed about this was, it's a muscle like anything else. It wasn't like, Dragon Ball Z power scale. It wasn't power contrivances. It was, well, how do you learn to fly? Well, if you can do it, you probably have so you need to practice. You need to... Yeah, you're super strong, but you can probably still work out, Mr. Incredible it, and like, you're lifting trains now, but you still have to work at it. So I thought that was, to me, it was very refreshing that it's like, it takes practice, it takes training, but, what you can do with your power can be quite amazing.
Did you have a favorite superhero?
Honestly, it's going to be Invincible.
You never loved the main protag.
You know what?
You never. I am shocked.
Yeah, like me and my tertiary character love. And no, it's gonna be, because I love when he's like when he goes.
Mouth gross because he sucks so bad.
No,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I actually like the practicality of his costume when he's like, oh, I like the goggles. He goes, because like stuff gets in my eye when I fly, and it's just one of those like.
It's very real, very normal.
And then his dad's like super, like you're like, why does his dad never? But also now is like when his eyes are red at points and he's moving at those speeds. I'm like. Are you literally just like Spartan trained? Like you don't feel pain. You
probably
because he says that in the end. He goes,
"Only the strong," and I'm like, "Really? That's exhausting."
Well, when he got to the end and he goes, "You've had a cushy life," and he's beating him to a bloody goddamn pulp. Like it was really good. Getting close to like we're getting close.
Yeah, we're getting close to the hour.
Let's we'll begin to like wrap up here. Do you have a favorite sequence or scene that you like?
Bless you. You go first, and maybe that'll inspire me.
So I've got two sequences that I super loved.
Okay.
One is when they were trying out for the Guardians of the Globe, how they like you can get assigned to teams, you can join teams, you can make teams. But you have to go in with the coalition, and the entire exchange between Rex and Monster Girl, where she sits there and like he talks smack to her, And then she just goes and like hulks the fuck out.
Yeah.
And beats him to a goddamn pulp and like gets him up later.
Yeah, beats his bitch ass.
And the other thing like that really like hit was she sits there and goes like when Robot's like, you need to like, we're gonna need to train. She goes, I can't. Like I'll keep turning younger.
Yeah, I'll lose a week of my life every time I do this.
Yeah, and she's like, and I'm 24 years old. You can't imagine how hard it is for me to date someone like they're either going through puberty or they're on some sort of registry. And it was one of those moments like there's just a whole new level of loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely loved that part.
I liked when Mark went to the Martian kingdom. Like, they were on Mars, he got underground. He's like, so how does this normally work? And they're like, why are you here? Who are you? Get out. How dare you? And he's just like, just an awkward guy.
Mm-hmm.
Just like way over his head. Just trying his best.
Love it. I'm going to take this rock. And then he gives it to April and he goes,
it's a rock. It's a special rock. Don't show it to anyone.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, you must especially not if they're a geologist. Like, that was just one of those moments where I'm like,
yeah,
that's actually really funny.
Yeah.
I was like,
I also liked the fight training sequences.
yeah.
When they were trying to like put together the new Defenders of the Globe.
Yeah,
Guardians of the Globe.
Guardians of the Globe.
I had my alliteration wrong.
Yeah. There are the
yeah.
Defenders. There are the Guardians of the Galaxy. These are splicing the two.
Guardians of the Globe, yeah.
And then honestly, the ending sequence. So in like the third episode, this guy comes to Earth from deep space. It's Seth Rogen as himself, as an alien.
Essentially.
And he comes here, and they're like Cecil's like, oh, he's back. And they're like, well, Mark, you can handle it. And Mark goes up there.
Into space. Sits on the moon.
Well, no, he fights him.
Oh, yeah, the first time, sorry.
And they're talking to him, and because they're like, he's back. So it means one of the times Omni-Man like probably went up there, beat the ever-loving tar out of him.
Like,
and it now makes
nearly as tough as the last guy.
Yeah. And then he's like, sit on the moon. He goes, is this Urath? He goes, no, this is Earth. He's just like, oh man, I'm gonna get in so much.
Not Urath.
Yeah. But I love how it was phonetically spelled Earth, and I'm like, oh, this is actually like, I easy mistake, man. You're good.
It happens to the best of us.
Happens to the best of us. But yeah, I absolutely loved that ending sequence where it's like he like goes up there and now this time he hands him the rock on the moon. They sit there and they talk.
Take a seat, buddy.
Yeah, he's gonna take a minute, and he goes, "What are you gonna do next?" And then it flashes through every mistake he made this season.
Yeah, and the loose ends.
Yeah, the ramifications.
Yeah.
And his answer was, I'm just gonna start by finishing high school, man.
Yeah, I'm just gonna finish high school.
What's a high school?
Yeah, and like, that sounds great. What is that? Yeah, it was humorous, and you need to end on that lighter note. It definitely keeps things. It builds the anticipation because like, here's what's going on. And when both of the blue guys went back into prison, they both smirked. That didn't make me feel good.
Yeah.
I'm like, what you smirking about? Was this part of your plan? Did you guys develop a plan? I bet you did. Aside from burn down the facility, like, what else did you plan? And things with Robot. Yeah, it's interesting. And I want to know what Cecil's got going on. Also, what if you're like one of the crazy people who just doesn't drink water? I think everyone needs to drink water, and if you don't drink water, you are crazy. So like,
well, no, it'd be one of those people who's like, I have to have it triple filtered
tap water.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there are people who just like live off of like Pepsi and don't drink water.
Well,
so
yeah, but
they see it?
They use tap water they would use like tap water when you're mixing the syrup and stuff to water it down and dilute it.
They wouldn't use tap water. Big corporations would not just use tap water.
But if you put ice in it?
Sure, maybe. So is it dose dependent? But what if I'm just like, yeah, if I'm going through like the McDonald's drive-thru or something? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
no,
I
like,
talked myself out of it.
I think you'd
Never
still
mind.
get it.
It's going to be like potent, but also doesn't cause any long-term effects. But this is one of the reasons why like the fish and the frogs have the frogs have 3 legs. It's causing genetic mutations. I want to know what the consequences are.
Oh my god, you were doing that. I'm like,
this is not FDA approved.
I'm like, are you going to go there? the conspiracy theorist guy who was on YouTube and got banned, who's like, it's turning the frogs gay. Like,
I know. I almost went that route, and I'm like, no, don't say that.
I'm watching your face, and I'm like, oh my god, are you gonna do this?
But no, yeah, I like that he's like, no, we put it in the water, and I'm just like, that thrills me because it just like adds credence and legitimacy to the conspiracy theorists, and I love that they leaned into that. It tickled me, it amused me because I'm like, even if they were right, no one would believe you.
Yeah, like,
and that's why I loved it. I'm like, I would never believe that, and that's the perfect thing. Like, you're never gonna look because no one's gonna buy into that shit. Like, and that's why it's perfect.
No, I would say my final question here is, but
Okay.
we'll end off on this one.
Yep.
I read manga. I'll read comics.
Yes, I know this.
You're like you've read Summer Saga.
I
have the Horizon comics, which you're gonna go through.
That was sounding instructionary.
Well, yeah. Well,
You're going to go through them.
Spoilers. We're gonna do a Horizon cast. But this is a comic series.
Yes.
Would
we be purchasing and reading?
Well, no. Would you actually read ahead on this? Like, is this one of those series, like, now that you've read it, would you like go like, all right, I'm going to go back and read the first season and then actually want to read, like, because I'm watching this and I'm like when I watched an anime, sometimes I'm like, I want to read ahead on this anime and see where it is. I did that with Black Clover. And now I have to do that with Black Clover. But let's say Demon Slayer, I'm like, oh, hey, Demon Slayer's cool, but I'm not necessarily like, I want to go read it. This is one of the ones where I'm like going to my comic shop like, okay, this is going to be an investment because there are 24 issues of the trade paperback, which is the medium-sized ones.
I would want to know how true this animated series stayed to the comics. Because if they're going to be drastically different, then no, not so much. Like, if depending, like, just like the number and the degree of the liberties that were taken. Like, artistic license, I get. But,
He was one of the producers.
yeah, but like you have to make cuts, sacrifices have to be made. So like, how different is it? And I would want like third party unbiased person to weigh in and tell me. And like, no, you'll get so much more. You'll be much more immersed in the world. You'll understand things. There are jokes that couldn't even be made because we know time. And they gave again like 45 minutes to an hour. Each episode was magnificent because I'm used to being like 23 minutes.
Yes.
So I was like, this is twice as long. This is wonderful. There's so much happened. So yeah, I would want someone to know, like, am I missing anything, or is it going to be so different that I won't appreciate it as much reading it? That's what I would want to know. So my answer isn't yes or no. Like, yeah, maybe. I need more information.
See, and I'm sitting here going like, I think this is one of the few things where I was like, oh my, like this is because I've kind of fallen off the superhero bandwagon. Where everyone else is like, Endgame this. I'm like,
no, you've been done with the superhero bandwagon for a number of years.
And I'm just like, okay.
They're like Westerns now.
But I watched this and I'm like, okay, here's another, and it's why I like Spider-Man. Like, here's a story of a kid in high school who just happens to have superpowers.
Yes.
And
that's your thing, though.
This one was the something along those lines where it was a kid who, his dad happened to be Superman, or Omni-Man in this case, and he also inherited
like his
powers.
Dad. Yeah.
And he's just, like living up to that expectations, and then also, just...
He actually had a good childhood.
Yeah.
Like, congrats on
that made the end sting. Like, once he said that, I'm like, oh, you're gonna say some shit.
Yeah.
Mom's a pet. And... Go ahead.
No, that sparked it. That was a gut reaction, just rage.
Okay.
That made me angry.
One of the things that, like... In the episode where he helps the concrete guy, and I lost his name.
Yep.
Defeat like the cyborg, like the bionic. He goes up there and he snaps at one point, and he does.
Which he, when you're saying he.
I'm sorry. Invincible snaps, and he like wails on a couple of them like once or twice, and like you actually see like when his dad does a hit, the concussive force of the fist.
Yes.
And then in the last episode when he's fighting his father. And he's fighting Omni-Man, and you watch him snap again, and you see the concussive force. Yeah. And he turns, and he goes...
Yeah, Omni-Man just basically turns his head. Like, it was just kind of like barely a knock on the jaw. And it was a bored please. It was a bored bitch please from a white guy. It was really good.
It was so... And like, because he yelled.
Yeah.
And at no point during that final sequence when he yelled was it like, oh, hey, there's JJ yelling again. It was... it was like a pained and disappointed
Yes.
yelling.
Disappointed parent yelling.
Yeah.
Yeah. He got the parent part, that tone to come through.
Oh my god, it's fantastic.
Yeah, you guys need to watch it. I know we skipped around a lot. It was really incomplete. It was incomplete with our storytelling. It was non-linear. It was stream of consciousness. But it's fantastic. The animation is lovely. It's a gory adult cartoon.
Did you watch any of the background crowds in some of those shots?
No, I'm really bad at that.
Oh, if we go back and watch it.
Also, we're wrapping up. You're opening up
I
another
know.
topic. Okay.
Some of the background crowd characters, like they look like they were straight out of Ruby.
Yeah.
Like when they're walking around, you're like you'll see like Omni-Man or Mark, and they're like that gorgeous like high contrast, and someone will be walking behind them, and they're not the
like
black silhouette.
Shadow or something.
They're not the shadow, but they're just they're not good.
Yeah, they don't have to be. You just need to see movements. You're like, oh, other people. This is where the action is.
Someone pointed out to me earlier, and I was like, I started watching it. I was like, oh no, I can't unsee it. And it was just one of those moments.
I didn't peek behind the curtain.
No, I love that now. But yeah, so you would say you should watch it?
Definitely.
Okay.
It's really, really good. Not safe for children, like little ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was worth watching. It was engaging. I appreciated the length. It was a good cadence.
It's dense.
Yes, a lot happens. We've spoiled things, but you should definitely give it a watch. And I eagerly await a second season.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the familial dynamics.
Yeah, and now that's leaving,
That's not leaving. That's been obliterated.
Well, now it's gonna be like single mom stuff.
Shattered single mom stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like coming from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's gonna be. Like I can't wait to see that, but yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys enjoyed it, please let us know in the comments. Also, if you enjoy this podcast, please leave us a 5-star review. Highly recommend. Check out Invincible. It is on Amazon Prime.
Yes, watch it on Amazon. If
8
you look
episodes.
for it on Netflix, you're not going to find it.
It is 8 episodes long. As Miss Play said, about 45 minutes each. It is a fantastic, fantastic watch.
And it's been getting rave reviews.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you haven't already watched it, like, it was getting like 90% scores.
Mm-hmm.
So go watch it.
And then, if you enjoyed this podcast, you can always check us out on the Wrong Button YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter as we slowly begin to upgrade and transition into a few new things for us here at the channel and our growth.
Yeah, we'll have new stuff coming out. Can't wait to show you in the not too distant future.
Hopefully a couple months.
Yeah.
Remember that you're all winners out there.
Keep it weird, and we'll see you next time.